bit smaller than the Olympia Theatre.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. Hey, yeah. Who's that? Who's making that noise? I love that noise. Makes me happy. What are you lot doing? What are you here for? Oh, God. Has anyone ever seen me do a guest talk before? No. Good, thank God for that. He hasn't either. Hey, yeah. Don't be hiding. Hi, bye-bye. Story of my life. Don't leave on my account. Right, so you can sit down, you're fine. Don't worry about it. What's going on? How you doing? Not too bad. You brought your own weapons with you today. I like that. Anything you want to know?
No, you go ahead.
All right. Where's the mic? Over there? Who's got any questions? I'm sick of the sound of my own voice already. Can somebody grab up where the microphone so we can hear you? What's your question? Or shout it or something. Yeah, but they can't hear you in the back, so that's just rude.
Okay. Testing. Oh, geez.
Testing?
Yeah.
They did all that already.
Well, double checking. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, a little bit of a control freak here. We're doing all right. What do you want?
Is there maybe a list of something on your bucket list that you want to do or haven't quite tried yet?
Why would I tell you?
Because
On my
we're
bucket
besties,
list.
obviously.
We are? How long have we been besties?
Well, you came to say hi to me yesterday, and then I went to cry in the back room. So
Why? What were you crying for?
you
What'd I do?
shook my hand.
That made you cry.
Yeah, I had 2 people check in on me because I was like hyperventilating.
You know, I've been married 4 times. None of them cried. They laughed a lot, but that was about it. So what's on my bucket list?
Yeah, something you
What's on
want to
your
do.
bucket list?
I'm trying to go for my dream job right now. Try that out.
What's that?
Being a flight attendant.
Flight attendant?
Yeah, I got accepted and I started in the summer. If I
long as-
pass training, that is.
Please, as long as it's not Ryanair, you're fine.
No.
They'll probably work out a way of charging you to be a flight attendant. It's £10 to get on the plane, £10 for the uniform.
And then it's £10 for oxygen to breathe.
It is, yeah, pretty much. I love the idea he was trying to get stand-up planes. I used to fly on Ryanair. Back when I was in Dublin, Ryanair started, they had those turboprops, BAC, like 111s or whatever it was. And I knew all the pilots. Like one of the pilots was the original Boomtown Rats drummer. So we used to fly all the time, and it was like, so I get called up to the cockpit when we're on the way to or from Ireland. And everyone would be like, where the fuck is he going? And I go up to the pilot, I go sit down, I sit in the jump seat, operate the flaps, have fun. This is way before 9/11. And it was like, it'd be like, it's like, okay, this is Dublin, blah, 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 blah. And who's that in the cockpit? Oh, Mark Sheppard. Oh, how you doing, man? Are you playing this? Where are you playing this year? Oh, yeah, great. Oh, great. Okay, so your vector is blah, blah. I used to sit in the jump seat, use the handles, do stuff. It was
That's
brilliant.
a big no-no now.
Come out of the clouds. It's like, oh, fuck, we're in the Isle of Man. I'm like, really? Say, no, we're just joking. But it was a different thing then. But it was all a bunch of old disgruntled Aer Lingus trained pilots that went and worked for Ryanair, which is fun. Yeah, go do it. Go knock it out of the park. Where are you from originally?
Latvia.
Oh, well.
Do you know where that is?
Yes, I do.
Most people don't
forgive
know what
you.
it is, let alone where it is. Oh, God.
What's up with you?
I was just wondering if you had a dream role to play.
Yeah, sure. Not going to tell you, though, am I? So probably end up doing it. I have a rule that I don't discuss what I might be doing. I mean, if you think about it, I've been the luckiest guy on earth. If you go back to the 80s, and I was here, and I was playing in a band here, big band here, and the idea of me being an actor it would never occurred to me. My keyboard player was like, you were always going to be a freaking actor. We all knew you were going to be an actor. So when I went over to America, when I left here and went to Los Angeles, it was a sort of natural progression. I was making records over there and doing what I was doing. But it sort of weirdly fell in, the telling of stories, which is about as Irish as it comes, really, if you think about it. We export people who tell stories, written language having gone so long ago, the idea of song and film and television and that stuff was just amazing. So I've done all these things and been on all these shows and been so lucky to do things that I've loved doing. And it's funny, the stuff that you guys tend to like about what I do is the stuff that I've enjoyed the most, you know? It's very few things I have not enjoyed. So whatever's next, you never know. You know, it's like, I get a phone call, it's like, yeah, you want to do Doom Patrol? How many of you lot seen Doom Patrol? Are you kidding me? Do you know who's in it? Brendan Fraser, Matt Bomer, Timothy Dalton, Diane Guerrero, April Bowlby, Javan Wade, Michelle Gomez. I mean, it's an amazing show. If you're bored, HBO, go watch it. You'll go, that is the craziest show I've ever seen in my entire life. Those are the things that make me happy. You know, Supernatural is like a decade of my life. You know, you ever want to know what it was like? Did you ever hear of Nerd HQ? There was we used to go to San Diego every year, right? So we go to Hall H and there'd be 8,000 people camping out at night to see us the next day, and we do all that stuff. We do all the press for the whole year. So Misha and I would have to go there a day and a half early and do bored out of our minds doing the same press crap for 8 years solidly. And then the boys would show up and come and do, you know, the bit on Saturday and then do Sunday. And then after we'd finished doing Hall H in the morning, they'd all get drunk because I don't drink. And we'd go over to Zach Levi or Aisha Tyler. We're running Nerd HQ, and it was under the bleachers of the San Diego Padres baseball stadium. And it was about, you know, so it was about 10, 15 rows like this and low down. And we would literally just F about for an hour or so. So if you ever want to see what we're actually really like, watch that stuff. It is insanely funny. It is too much fun to do. But yeah, I love what I do. I never know what I'm going to do next.
So
An
no
odd phone
preference.
call. Would you like to do this? Would you like to do that? Okay. I turn into Pete Davidson. It's kind of fun.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate it. What do you want?
You are a part of my ideal Batman fan cast. You would be my ideal Penguin.
He's calling me short and fat.
And
You do realize, you know, I just dropped 3 stone.
I was thinking more so in terms
Do you like the T-shirt?
Yes.
Now, if I was ever going to get an endorsement, Hairy Babies T-shirts would be my favorite endorsement. Come on, lads, send me some tees.
So my question is, since James Gunn is going to be doing a Batman movie,
I don't fucking know. Jesus.
would you be open to playing?
No,
Penguin?
am I open to work? I mean, seriously. Is anybody here, would you all fancy a decent job for decent pay? Yeah, no? Right, yeah. Who knows? Who cares? I mean, it's a lovely idea that you're thinking of me, but you never know what I'm going to do. James is a nice guy, but, you know, I was playing Constantine in Doom Patrol, and that's DC, so it's kind of fun. I've done some interesting things, and I'm sure there's more to come. Anyone else got a question? Stand up.
What's your favorite movie?
When? You can't have one favorite movie. Who the hell has one favorite movie?
Okay, then what are your 5 favorite movies?
What are yours? I just like watching you
Watchmen.
climb the microphone.
Watchmen. It's not my fault. I'm short. It's like
Yeah, it is.
Watchmen, Die Hard.
Get bigger boots.
I still would
See the seat
appreciate-
behind you. Just stand on the seat behind you. That's the way you do it. Watchmen. What else?
Die Hard, Dead Poets Society, Life on the Murder Scene, and It 2017.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't it? I mean, you've left out a lot of things that I find to be glorious. I mean, it's Godfather and Blade Runner and
Never watched it.
yeah. Well, there you go. So you got a lot of things to watch. The movies that you love will evolve depending on how old you are, where you are, who you're watching them with, right? Who you're watching with. That's another thing to do. But loving the great thing about this, I mean, are we talking about? Wait, talking to you, jumping up and down like a frog. Think about it. You're in a place which is remarkably inclusive, remarkably safe. People wearing their hearts on their sleeve, people dressed in costumes for things that they admire and do. These are the things you used to get your ass kicked for 30, 40 years ago. And, you know, if you really think about it, you know, the geeks have inherited the earth, right? I mean, we're now in charge of what they think. They're checking with us to see whether what we like is something they can make money out of, as opposed to the other way around. It used to be very cynical. And, you know, they would copy and copy and copy things and try to farm it out and wonder why it wasn't successful. And these little shows that we all loved, that were made with passion and we cared about, suddenly became these huge sort of cult followings. I mean, Firefly is probably the end of that era. It was a show that, you know, was on Fox, had, terrible, had 11 million viewers. They've killed for 11 million viewers now. But then it was like, that was a complete financial failure. And if it had been during the time of streaming, the show would have been on for 5 years. You know, I mean, that's the thing. The market has changed. Our influence on the market has changed. The fact that, you know, there's a man wearing a Trek uniform, you know, absolutely. But we can wear our hearts on our sleeves, and we can vote with our money, and we can say what we love, and we can enjoy different and disparate films, and we're not fighting over it. You know, the polarization of people's opinions nowadays is so painful. And yet you can come to a place like this, and the worst argument we're having is like, I like this more than I like this. Not I hate that, or you know, it's an amazing time. I think we're a great microcosm to show people how to behave and what to do, because there's a hell of a lot of love in conventions. You always just see so much positivity, you know, and there's not a lot of that going on outside, which drives me bananas. What do you want?
Hello, thank you for coming. I was wondering, when you first started working on Supernatural, did you expect Crowley to become such a fan favorite?
No, I was supposed to do one episode. I stayed there for 8 years. Bloody annoying. I don't know. It's you know, it was a lucky thing. It was something I wanted to do. There was a showrunner called Kim Manners. There was a guy called Kim Manners, and he was a child actor. He was on 77 Sunset Strip, the American series, the old black and white series. And he ended up doing things like directing 21 Jump Street, the TV series back in the day. And he was the first sort of real showrunner for Supernatural. And I knew him for years. And I'd go up to Vancouver to go do things, and I'd see him. We'd go hang out in a particular hotel bar. And he was always like, you'd love the show. I said, yeah, I've seen the show. He said, yeah, you'd love the boys. They're great. And then, cut a long story short, around season 4, he passed. He died. I knew his brother really well, and I was working at Fox with his brother. And right after that happened, Supernatural hadn't crossed my path at all. And right after that happened, I got a call, said, would I like to audition for Supernatural? I got the giggles. I was like, this is some sort of great cosmic joke. And that was Crowley, and that was the weirdest thing ever. You know, it was like, and I went there to do an episode and ended up staying for 8 years. A couple of years too long, but it was kind of fun. But I enjoyed it a lot. You know.
Thank you.
What?
Hi. Sorry, this isn't a question. I just really wanted to say that I absolutely loved your X-Files episode.
Oh, thank you.
It is one of my favorites.
31 years ago.
Yeah.
So long. I still get paid for that. That's pretty cool. They weren't actually a series when that episode was done. They only had the first 12.
Yeah.
And on that episode, they were picked up.
Yeah.
To be a series. I think the first time it showed in America had 3 million viewers. Second time was 6 million. The third time was 12 million. So that was at the beginning of Fox being something. All they had was The Simpsons, Married with Children, and The X-Files. That was pretty much all they had on Fox. But it was an amazing time to do stuff. It was a lot of fun. What?
Hello.
Hi.
Just a question about filming on Supernatural. Do you have any particular memories that stand out? Like,
Can I remember how I was filming Supernatural for 8 years of my life?
No, just
what am I, brain dead?
No. favorite memory on set.
Oh, well, how many of you watched Supernatural? Like, seriously watched it? All right, okay, Jesus. Won't be talking about Doctor Who then. The end of season 8, if you remember the end of season 8 in the church, all of that stuff was shot in sequence, which is a really rare thing to do. And it was pretty much all of us together. And it was a very unifying thing. And it was a great story. That season was a really good arc that ran all the way through, you know, to the angels falling from the sky and that whole ending. And that was probably us at our best. That was probably the best season we ever did. So many fun things, stupid things. I mean, you look at, there are some outtakes that you'll never get to see. because they're just so rude. But the best, I remember Jensen had a line, "I'd rather be slapped in the face during sex by a girl in a Zorro mask," and he couldn't get it out. And this is a boy that did soap opera when he started. I mean, he could do 68 pages of dialogue without thinking about it. And he just couldn't get this line. And of course, Jared's mean and he's very, very quick. He's very, very smart. He pretends he's not, but he's really, really smart. And so Jensen fluffed the line and it became 68 takes of trying to get this line and being constantly interrupted by Jared or me or anybody else. And it's like, nah, that's not it. And it's like, so we had a gag reel that year, which every interstitial was him messing up that line differently. I don't know if that ever came out as the version that went out to the Supernatural family, but that was kind of appalling because he never made mistakes like that. So it was those sort of things are fun. They never played tricks on me because I'm old and I can sue. You know, they did some evil things to each other. They really did, especially to Misha, because Misha always takes the biscuit, you know. Terrible. God, they used to torture that poor boy.
They didn't do things to you, but what did you do to them?
Nothing. Why would I bother? There's no point. But like they, you know, I mean, I remember, I think Jared wrote something rude on the back of my car once. I was like, if you scratch the paint, it's going to cost you $6,000 to repaint. He's like, I'm sorry. So yeah, when Misha was directing an episode, first time he directed an episode, and they shredded his script 3 times. They then pied him in the face. So Jensen did it really nicely on camera, just sluck up behind him and Custer pied him in the face. Jared hit him so hard with a pie, broke his nose. Oh. And it took 45 minutes to clean up the set afterwards. Yeah, he's a big puppy. Yeah, that was miserable. I knew it was bad when Jared's looking at me and goes, "Hey, Shep, how much do you think Misha's car's worth?" And I'm like, don't start doing it. I think he was going to get a forklift and put it on top of the building. It's just stupidity. We get bored. We worked hard and we played hard. I mean, there was never, messing about was never messing about and not getting it done. It was about getting it done and messing about. So if you look really carefully, they tried not to put the 4 of us in scenes together. If they did, it was like we would do stupid stuff like investigate other actors' supposed charitable trusts. And I mean, we get into a lot of trouble. I've got to be careful what I say here. What do you need?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I have 2 questions for you.
No.
Okay. If you weren't Crowley on Supernatural, who would you like to play on Supernatural?
Write your own fan fiction. Next question.
Okay.
Who would want to be anyone else but Crowley, for God's sakes?
To be fair. There's rumors that it's coming back. Can you confirm?
God, who knows? What, do I look like Warner Brothers? How the hell would I know?
I'll just sit down, so.
There you go. Fair play to you. Go on.
Hi, Mark. And as a question for when it comes to working against monsters, CGI characters, that type, how have you found working in the industry over the years that has changed from working early days on like X-Files or to Doctor Who?
Well, the X-Files has no CGI. That's all real fire, which is kind of scary. And you wouldn't do that anymore. Who was... Yeah, there wasn't really any CGI in Who. Not really. That was all, you know, the silence with the silence. There was a very tall Dutchman called Marnix van der Werk. I don't know. I mean, the imagination is a wonderful thing. It doesn't, you know, it's what you're willing to do. I don't think I'd enjoy sitting on green screen for 3 months trying to do, you know, crappy Marvel movies. I think we're done with that whole thing of... They've started to look like gag reels. The whole movies have started to look like gag reels now. We're sort of burned out from the sort of stupidity of it. We need a break from that stuff. We need stories. We need stuff that's interesting. So I think TV series are becoming more interesting. If you haven't seen Doom Patrol, you can understand. I mean, we've got zombie werebutts, Nazis, Nazi puppets. The entire town disappears up the arse of a donkey in the 2nd episode. Yeah, it's kind of fun. So yeah, and that's a lot of CGI, but it's easy on the imagination. It makes sense. It's well written. When things are well written, it's fun. So, but yeah, I don't know. Acting with tennis balls is not the most fun thing to do, but if it's something you're really into, you'll sort of, if it's a story you really want to tell, you do whatever it is that you need to get that story told. Doesn't matter, how it's done. There you go.
Thank you.
Almost answered this question. This is the most questions I've ever answered in my life. I usually ignore everybody. Go do my own stuff.
I haven't asked any yet, so
Yeah,
I'm just
no.
getting to sit back and relax. It's great.
Yeah, you're good. Something to do. How you doing?
That's grand. I was giving you the time up there. Just on all the shows.
Jeez, I was getting flashes of Colin Meaney for a minute.
I wish it was that good.
Oh, well.
No, but all the shows you've done throughout the years and all that, if you got a one-off chance to do a collaboration, be, say, improv or something, which cast would you like to do?
No idea, man. But I never say that stuff because, like, I'm always doing something and I don't ever want to spoil the fact that I could be doing anything. So you never know. No. If I really, really like it, sometimes it manifests itself and it happens, Last time somebody was asking me, like, oh, would you ever do Doctor Who? And I'm like going, yeah, I had a ticket in my pocket to fly to London to go to Cardiff. So you kind of got to keep things a little on the down low. You know what I mean? But I do surprise you lot every now and then, don't I? I show up and stuff. Oh, there he is again. What do you want?
Are you still in contact with Misha?
Yeah, I see him all the time. We do a lot of conventions. I love Misha. I pretend I hate him because it's easy. But as a man who builds hospitals and schools and gets refugees out of foreign countries and does extraordinary things with his life. So he's a pretty easy man to love. So yeah, I talk to him a lot. He's a good guy. I hate Castiel though. I mean, Castiel's a complete waste of space. Bloody useless. 15 years, it's no smarter than when he started. It's really sad. What do you want?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'm good. I'm grand. How are you?
If there was a fight between Crowley and Crowley from Good Omens, who would win?
Why are you writing fan fiction for me? It doesn't matter what I think. That's yours. That's your imagination. I got into an interesting conversation with Gaiman about me doing next Good Omens, but we did it publicly, unfortunately, and everyone went nuts. So we've been wanting to do something together for a long time. I'm a big fan of Neil Gaiman. So, and I'm pretty sure that my esteemed creator for Supernatural was reading Good Omens when he decided to pick Crowley as a name. And they'd already had Alistair, so Crowley was a logical thing. But Crowley's mine. I did that for 8 years. I've done it longer. Did more episodes. A fight between them. That's terrible. It's a terrible idea. Who do you think would win?
Not sure.
There you go.
So after you finished when you finished as Crowley, did you get to keep any Crowley suits or any?
They were my suits. That was my tailor.
But did you get to keep anything Did you get to nick stuff off the set?
Nick stuff off the set. I was given stuff off the set. I didn't nick stuff. Warner Brothers would be like, "Give us that back." No, I mean, yeah. I mean, I have my original tie and my original stuff. It's kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, it's like. Let's put it this way. When my wife gave birth to my daughter, I wasn't sitting there filming it. I was actually in the room enjoying it. So, the props don't mean as much to me as the fact that I was actually there for that period of time, there are some things over the years that I've been given, like Ron Moore bought me my Romo glasses from Battlestar and in the auction and just sent them to me, which is rather cool because I wouldn't have had them otherwise. But yeah, I mean, things not quite as important as memories. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
It's a way to do it.
Cool.
Appreciate it. Yeah. I actually brought hell with me, apparently. Oh, yeah. If you're robbing the place, you're late.
Good afternoon.
Hiya.
I'm Tom. I hope you don't mind me calling you Mark.
You call me whatever you want.
Perfect.
I might not answer you.
I have no questions.
Okay.
All I'm going to say to you is that I've seen you in a multitude of programs and films over the years.
Are you following me?
Yeah, and all I want to do is wish you good health. I heard about what happened at Duncan's personal thing.
I love the fact everybody whispers about it.
Yeah.
I died 5 times over a weekend.
Yeah. I know. Listen, you were talking there about jokes. My brother went through the same thing, so I understand where I come in. He came through it, and he had,
He had what?
He had surgery.
He did?
Yeah, He did. His heart stopped as well. He was lucky enough the ambulance got there in time. brought him to the hospital, then brought him to a cardiac hospital. And
Well-
he got into the cath lab, sorted in Operation Straight. But I don't want to get too much into what I'm going to say to you is I just wish you good health into the future.
I appreciate
And
that.
have
Thank you.
A long life.
There you
Because
go.
your imagination that you bring to the screen, most definitely compared to some of the shit that we have to watch on, you know, and it's, as you said, it's the money trail, right? Okay. But that being set aside, all I really want to say is have a long fucking life.
Fair play to you. Thank you,
Okay.
man. I
Fair play,
appreciate
man.
it.
Yeah.
Fair play. All right. Well, just to sort of head off the fun, you know, the elephant in the room. I do not have heart disease. I do not have an ongoing heart issue. The only thing that I'm at risk of is apparently sudden cardiac death, which is kind of fun, really. I mean, so there's nothing else I'm worried about. Heredity is a very interesting thing. My father and his father and his father all had relative cholesterol problems. So if you think about it, you know, what you eat is about 20% of your cholesterol issues. You can modify, but only about 20% of it. 80% of it is hereditary. It's how your body processes it and how your body does it. And in my family, unfortunately, mine creates a blockage. And I just had skin cancer surgery. And then I had to have an abdominoplasty to take care of the 8-inch gash in the middle of my belly that had completely distorted my body. So I lost a bunch of weight and got really healthy. About 3 months took me to get really healthy, and then had an abdominoplasty. So I was able to move a Frankenstein scar from here into my bikini line, as they say. And so I'd done that. I was a week into that. And I was about to get the drains taken out that I was from the surgery that I'd had. And my buddy was supposed to take me down because my wife had just had back surgery. This is a real fun couple of months for us all. And I didn't feel good. And I had it's Thursday, I had a little something in my jaw, but I thought it was the drugs because I'm sober 34 years. So I thought it was the drugs I was taking for the abdominoplasty. I was taking Norco, which is a really strong opioid. And I didn't like it, and I was being really, really careful with it and stuff. And I was getting spit in my mouth, and I was like, "Oh, this is weird." It went away on the Thursday, and on the Friday, it came back. And my mate was supposed to drive me down to Beverly Hills, 10 minutes away or so. And I was like, "No, I don't feel up to it. Hold on, I've got to be a little careful here. This is not good." And it was so bad that I was actually at my kitchen island, and my sink was about 4 feet away, and I was spitting on the kitchen island because I needed to work out what was going on. And the next thing I knew, I went down like a ton of bricks. I knew I was going down, so I went down. Came to, cold, very cold, soaked. And I still had, the bandages on, the elastic bandages on from having the abdominoplasty and the drains I got up. And I'd obviously pissed myself. I was like, this kind of sucks. So I sat up. My wife's on the phone to 911. Going, I think he's had a drug reaction. We can't tell what's going on. So I said, well, if I'm going to hospital, I need new underwear, sweatpants, and some socks. So they bring me some. Everyone's looking at me going, Jesus, what's going on? So I crawled around into the pantry. I get a pair of underwear, pair of sweatpants, and a sock. I'm like, this isn't working very well. Crawl back out to the kitchen, sit up against the stove. I'm like, ooh, this isn't good. Out I go. Next thing I know, there's an EMT looking at my face. I'm flat on my back, looking at my face, like he's back. They just paddled me awake. So I had 100% blockage in my widowmaker artery, the LAD. 100%, not 90, not. So the statistical possibilities of me being alive were, well, very close to zero. I looked at this man in the face and I said, excuse my language, if there's any kids here, put your fingers in your ear. I said, motherfucker, don't let me die. I was coherent and I was loud between each event that subsequently happened, which is kind of shocking for the medical staff that were there. He didn't say what I wanted him to say. He really didn't. He said, don't let me die. And he said, I'll do the best I can, which is not a good sign. You really want him to say, I've got you. Don't worry about it. This will be good. But that's not what happened. So I went out 2 more times, which I was very clearly aware of the fact that I was going to die. My brain said, just breathe out, you're done. And I was like, fuck that. I'm not doing this. Got very, very mad and fought every step of the way. The more I fought, the more they fought with me. They got me in the ambulance, 2 events in the ambulance, 1 event in the parking lot, got in there, got on the operating table. I stop everybody. I'm like, hold on. I know what the name of my autobiography is going to be. For life, and I'd like to go home. And they said, we'll do the best we can. And that's all I got. So 8 minutes after I hit the code blue room, I was in surgery. They drilled through, cut the blockage, put a stent in. I have a tiny little dot on my wrist. That's where they went in. Magic. Statistically impossible. That was Friday. They sent me home on Sunday. I was like, I put the stuff out on Instagram. I said the bits I said. I was like, damn, I dodged a bullet. I'm actually healthier than I was when I went in. Very much so. My heart had probably been functioning at 50% for about 5 or 6 years, right? So Sunday I'm home. People calling me like, you're alive. I'm like, yes, I am. I felt a little lightheaded, just like I've been sniffing gasoline or something, back to the old days. It's like, that's a bit odd. My kids are like, you going to the hospital? I said, oh, just calm down. I said, I'm feeling anything, I'm okay. And then an hour later, I felt a little bit more woozy. Put my feet up, and apparently I blacked out. My wife pulled my tongue out my throat. My 8-year-old's watching, my 18-year-old's screaming in my face. I come out of that going like, stop shouting at me. The same EMTs come. They're like, we saw the address. We didn't even know you went home. So we came to get you. They check me. They don't think about a heart attack. So they take me back to the hospital. And it becomes this massive love fest of, Crowley, still alive. No, you can't kill the king of hell. Blah, 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 blah. Do you remember what happened? Yeah. Do you remember what you said? Yeah, of course I remember what I said. Because I remember he hit every pothole from here to Burbank. Blah, 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 blah. So it was all a big, beautiful love fest. They put a liter of fluids in me. And I was like, oh, cool. My kids went off, went to get me some food. I waited, they put me up in a room. No ICU, but they put me up in a room. So I'm up in a room, turn the TV on, 6 o'clock, Columbo comes on. I'm like, cool. All right, hold on. Oh shit, hit a button, said, help me. That's the last thing I remember. Had a massive electrical heart attack. So my kids are coming out of the elevator, my 24-year-old and my 18-year-old coming out of the elevator with sushi for me, and they hear code blue, crash carts, blows screaming, shouting. Oh, some poor fucker's dying. And they're like, oh, it's dad. And so they watch him four girls beat the living shit out of my rib cage, which was great. One of them cracked my sternum, which was funny. And then paddling me 4 times trying to get rid of him. So it wasn't good. So I came to immediately. I'm going, am I still in the same room? They're like, Jesus, he's still talking. So I look at the guy. I said, who broke my ribs? The girl's like, yeah, nice job. I said, thanks. I'm sure it was necessary. And as they're wheeling me towards ICU, I'm like, for God's sake, can I just have a day where I don't piss on myself? And the woman looks at me and goes, or everybody else. I'm like, oh, God. She goes, because the liter of fluids they give me, every time they were compressing my chest, I was pissing 6 feet in the air. The ignominy. That was the worst night of my life. That night, I didn't want to go to sleep. That night was scary. That night was different. Because I dodged the bullet, I got the physical thing out of the way, and now my heart's going to let me down. So it took me a couple of days, had a lot of great conversations with a lot of very important people, and I made a decision. And I now have an installed defibrillator in my chest. So I have a device right there. So if I spark out, 8 seconds later, that wakes me up. So I have a chubby little mall cop with a taser in there going, fuck you. So that's the adventures of Mark Sheppard in the land of heart issues. I have no heart disease. If you know anything about hearts, I have an ejection flow of 55%, which is ridiculous for a man of 60 after a heart attack. 70, I'd be a marathon runner. So I'm healthy. I'm really healthy. I'm better off than I was before I started. Mentally, it's a little difficult. It's an odd thing to survive when you don't know and you lose the power to make choices, and you start going, I'm not done. I really don't want to be done. I've got things to do. So I got mad, and all I know is the more I fought, the more they fought with me. And I got the best out of everybody you can possibly imagine. I was treated with unbelievable dignity and respect, and I got the best out of every medical person I could work with. They were fucking fantastic. And, you know, that's my story. And now it's like, be careful with yourself. And I'm like, no, now it's time to go live life and be what I need to be and enjoy doing what I'm doing, enjoy my kids and stuff. But it's not careful now, you know, it's, yeah. Did you ever see the photograph of the two Irish boys in Thailand? There was literally a riot squad in Thailand, all about 5 feet tall, in Thailand. And there's two boys with the signs, careful now. I'm like, they're going to get killed. Just for a joke, they're going to get killed. It's my favorite photograph. I'm like, oh God, they're going to get battered. But so yeah, so I'm not at risk, you know, in that context, I'm not at risk. It's not like, you know, there's so many things could have happened. So many things didn't happen. And I'm a lucky boy, so I take the win. Unfortunately, I meant I've had to sell all my motorcycles. I'm not allowed to be within 24 inches of a running motor. And it's kind of fun going through customs. Like not walking through that. All right. So I have a medical card and fun stuff. But I'm actually fitter and healthier. And I'm, 3 stone lighter than I was last year. So it's good, man.
Yeah,
so if any of you have any heart disease in your family, please go get checked, because that didn't show up. That didn't show up when I had the tests before I had the surgery. It didn't show up in EKGs, didn't show up in any of that stuff. It was a blockage.
My brother had a sledgehammer in his hand, putting a hole through a wall, when he literally dropped. Heart stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. The guys beside them were looking up, did CPR on him.
Yeah.
Ambulance got there, as I said, went to the local hospital, straight up to the cardiac because they couldn't handle it, and massive blockage from the stent as well.
Yeah, if I'd have gone into the car with my buddy, I wouldn't be here. If any of those things that happened, I wouldn't be here. So it's a boring story, but it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Same as yourself.
Few months? They kicked me out on Sunday. I was out on the following Wednesday. I must try that. No, I know, I'm joking, I know. They're literally looking at me going, you'll be off the pills in 2 months, blah, blah, blah. I've never been fitter. It's ridiculous. The fact that I lost the weight probably helped so much as well. So what do you need to know?
I survived a cardiac arrest also and have a defibrillator as well.
Congratulations, we're buddies.
Yeah, but I just wanted to know, did you have a spiritual experience after yours? I did with mine.
Listen, I'm sober 34 years. Everything in my life is a spiritual experience.
See anything or feel anything?
Well, there's a drug that your body produces, DMT, and it's pretty much like dropping acid, and it manufactures a certain thing. I remember the last time I dropped acid was in Sweden in 1982, and all that happened to me was I walked from the South Island of Stockholm to the North Island of Stockholm, 3 feet in the air. So the floating above thing is very normal for the drug that your body produces, and lights and all that stuff is because you're usually in a situation where there's lights, and your body is actually, your brain is trying to help your body at that point. But, you know, my life is a series of fun miracles. You know, I have children and work and all those things, and nothing surprises me. You know, I'm sure there was, you know, I think I could see, you know, the streets of San Francisco was probably an episode I was watching a couple of days before or something, and I was like, oh, fuck that. I'm not interested. I'm not done. You know, I fought to stay up. Life is a spiritual experience if you allow it to be. You know what I'm saying? How long's your battery life on your?
I've a year left.
When did you have it put in?
2012.
That's not bad. I've got 13 and a half years on this one. It's a new one. So this one you can do MRIs with and all sorts of stuff.
You can't.
No, this one you can't. Say, nah.
I'm old school.
Yeah, you're doing grand. The new one they'll put in.
I know. Yeah.
You'll be grand with that.
Yeah.
How can I help you? I know you want to end soon.
Yeah. Hope you're well. Was it surreal having your father play an older version of you in Doctor
Why would that
Who?
be surreal? It saved me having to go and do prosthetics. I said, why don't you just ask my dad? He's like, will he do it? I said, of course he'll do it. I didn't know how to ask him. He's like, is Doctor Who all like still bits of string and cardboard? And well, no, it's really good. So I sent him sent him fish fingers and custard and all the stuff from their forwards, and he was like, God, this boy's really good. He had a blast doing it. He had a great time doing it. But it was a lot of fun. You've been waiting. What do you need?
Oh, one more question.
No.
Your father also did the narration for Civilization 5.
Yeah.
Did you also consider doing the narration?
Well, he already did it. Why would I do the narration for Civilization 5?
Well, for another Civilization game in the future.
They ask me, I usually decide whether I want to do things or not. You never know.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Games, yeah.
What do you need?
When you were telling the same story on Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, you had Michael touch the area where how much convincing did that take? Because he seemed really reluctant at first.
No, he just didn't want to hurt me. It's genuinely what it is you're like, is this something weird? And he's like, no, it's a fucking brick. He's like, it's good. But we need to end up, do we need to finish doing what we're doing? We're doing good? Okay, because you kept looking like something was good. Come on.
Please don't play in Good
Jesus Christ.
Omens.
What?
Please don't play in Good Omens.
Why?
It's awful.
Well, you're making friends. That's a good thing.
Controversial.
Go on.
Hiya, I have a question. So I remember you, first from Firefly and then
It's not a
Battlestar
question.
Galactica. Yeah. So you're playing a villain and someone hands you an apple.
Never
How
played
do you eat it?
Never played a villain, so I wouldn't know.
Okay, fair enough.
Never played a villain, never will. Might have people with slightly different moral compasses to yours, but
Yeah. Okay.
never played a villain.
So then you play a person with a different moral compass and someone hands you an apple. How do you eat it?
It's out of context.
It is.
Are we going to get into ducks and horses again after this?
Nah. Okay.
Does anyone else want to ask a question before I actually ask one myself? Oh, we have.
Uh-oh.
Hi, my name's Dominic. I do design for film in college, and I do a lot of different stuff, prop making, costume design, blah, blah, blah. And I'm also interested in doing acting. And as you're an amazing actor, I gotta ask, how did you get into acting? Do you have any message to send about starting in acting?
There was an amazing, there was an actor called Richard Burton, Sir Richard Burton, and a young Welsh actor asked him, Mr. Burton, how do you do the acting? Which I thought was a really brilliant question. And he took pity on him and he said, it's easy, son. What you do is you give the other actor your whole heart. And if he doesn't give it you back, you kick the shit out of him. So, I don't know, if it's something you have to do, it's something you have to do. If you have to jump the highest, pole vault, then something you have to do, then you work out how to do it and you do the best you can.
Yeah.
It's not something, it's Thursday, I'll do some acting. If you have to do it, you'll do it. It's the telling of stories. It's what it is. It doesn't matter to me whether it's music, it doesn't matter to me whether it's art, it doesn't matter what it is, it's the telling of stories.
Did you ever try to do some short films with your friends? I know that I did.
I don't have any friends. No. Yeah, but I don't have a lot of time to do short films. But you just do what you do. I did theatre and I won some awards, and did films and they won awards, and that's sort of what you do. And I sort of got used to killing people on American television. It's kind of fun. And here I am. It's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just wondering.
Stop wondering. You've arrived.
Fantastic.
There you go.
My question is, you as Badger in Firefly.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, was that as much fun? Let's say as doing Supernatural, or
it was all right. I mean,
how was I pranking between casts, or was there any of that going on?
Joss wrote the role for himself, and he's a shit actor, so they wouldn't let him do it. So I didn't know that until about 8 hours into this scene. But yeah, it was kind of interesting that way. But it was a weird time for television, because it would have gone on a lot longer. It was a show that would have definitely gone, if it had been on HBO or it had been on Netflix or it had been whatever, it would have been a totally different scenario. It was a lot of fun. I still see members of the cast all the time. Tudyk's in Doom Patrol, so he's kind of cool in that. Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky to do things that have some impact. It's kind of amazing. It's a little show that wouldn't go away. You know, and Supernatural was a little show that wouldn't go away for 15 years. I think the reason why it's so successful is that Warner's had managed to sell it to terrestrial television all over the world. So it wasn't shown on cable, or you didn't have to get it on DVD. You could actually see it on terrestrial TV in Brazil and India and everywhere else. So the fan base is so huge for Supernatural. It's kind of crazy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What do you want?
Hello. It's a bit of a stupid question. Fuck, marry, kill.
No,
Jensen,
we don't do that.
Go on.
Never.
Then who
Write
was
your own fan fiction.
Fine. Then who was your favorite, like bad guy, like Abaddon, Lucifer?
Bad guys?
Yeah. Well, other things with
me.
different moral compasses.
Me.
Apart from you.
If they'd all just listened to me, it would have been a much more fun place to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I look at it as a whole, not a little bits and stuff. I mean, you think about it, you're doing it week in, week out for the better part of a decade. It's a long time. There was lots of ups and downs and fun and stupidity. I mean, it doesn't make any sense that Crowley has a mother. It never has made sense because that's Fergus MacLeod and he's a 4'6" Scottish crofter. It's not me. But I thought Ruth was fantastic.
Oh, she's deadly.
Yeah, she's lovely. All 4'11" of her. And she's a lot younger than me, playing my mother. I think that's always been really funny. She thought she was coming into it to play my love interest. Now that would have been interesting. She'd have played my ex-wife. That would have been fucking brilliant. That would have gone on for years. That would have been really good. But yeah, you have to write your own fan fiction. That's the rules.
Thanks.
What do you want to know?
Well, we're out of time, really, but...
There you go. Well, thank you very much.
I actually I let them do what they want to do with all your roles.
That's good of you.
I want to know about 2 particular guitars you have.
Well, you all remember the Halfpenny Bridge, right? Right. Okay, well, you know the history of the Halfpenny Bridge. You know, it was the Wellington Bridge and blah, 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 right? But back in the day, when we were all in bands, we used to cross the Halfpenny Bridge to go to Temple Bar and get 3 or 4 of the rehearsal places were all on that side, you know, and Phil Lynott did a video on the bridge. Was it This Old Town? Yeah. And it was a part of our history. The trouble was, back in those days, I don't think more than 800 people a day went across it. And so they decided they needed to cut it down, send it up to Holland and Wolf and make it out of steel or whatever at the bottom of it. And so the wood that came off the Halfpenny Bridge got sort of distributed all over the place. People put it up in pubs and stuff. And the rest of it was sitting up at Holland and Wolf in Belfast. And the Wood Whisperer for Fender guitars happened to be up there because he wanted to go visit Holland and Wolf. And he was like, "What's that?" And they're like, "Well, that's the wood from the Halfpenny Bridge." It was like a sofa's worth of wood left. And so he bought it and shipped it back. And they were going to make the Edge deluxe cabinets out of it. And John Cruz, who's a massive Thin Lizzy fan and is like the most famous luthier at Fender, guitar builder at Fender, said, "Fuck that, I'm building guitars." It's like, you know, Rory Gallagher was on that bridge. Everybody was on that fucking bridge. That was the bridge, you know, everybody used that bridge. And so he built 2 guitars in 17 out of the Halfpenny Bridge wood. And I saw him the day after they were at NAMM, and I'm in Fender endorsee. So I was like, I talked to the head of Fender. I was like, I want one. I walked over that bridge. My dad walked over that bridge. His dad walked over that bridge. His dad walked over that bridge. He's like, "You can't have it. They're like 50 deep in orders. He might make 10 of them. He might make 20 of them. Who knows what he's going to do." And anyway, they secretly did a deal behind my back, and my wife got me the first telly for that. So I have a telly from that. It took 18 months to get John to build it, but 205 or 206-year-old pine. Great guitar, beautiful guitar. And then they secretly got me the Strat that goes with it. So even the Edge doesn't have the fucking Strat. I've got the only pair. So I'm the only person in the world that has 2 guitars made by Fender out of the Halfpenny Bridge. I'm like very proud of that. They've got Halfpenny's in the bottom as well, which is really weird. But yeah, it always reminds me. My dad knew before he passed that I had it. So it was like a lot of fun for him too. They're pretty cool. As you're trudging over that thing, remember it used to go doom, doom, doom. Didn't sound like metal. Yeah. What else?
No. Well, I've one thing to say to you, because obviously we're all very happy that you're here. Obviously, because your issues that you've had.
He's just amazed I'm alive. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Right.
I've been asked by a good friend of mine who's sitting in the front row. I won't point out.
Point.
First. That woman there.
Where?
That woman right there.
Right. What do you want?
Yeah. Do you want to say it?
You
No?
ask it. Don't have him ask it. What did you inform him of?
She informed me to say, you can't break the heart of a heartbreaker.
Oh, that's sweet. I love that. Listen, it's amazing to be back. Even though I was born in London, most of my family's from here, and I've always thought of this as home. Of course, I skipped coming home for 30 years, and when I came back, it was a lot different than I expected it to be. But I do love being here, very, very much so. I'm very grateful for having the opportunity to come here and see you guys. And there's a lot of weird stuff, a lot of Light a Big Fire stuff showing up, and I'm like, Jesus, that's what I looked like in 1985. But it means a lot to me. And this is a really rough time for a lot of people. This is a really hard time for a lot of people. And as I said, this is a really safe space for many, many people to be at. Conventions are really, really good places for people to see each other. It's the best place in the world. You can have a panic attack. You can have 50 people helping you, whether you like it or not, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You're you're less likely to be judged apart from how good your costume is. But it's an important thing. Please remember, if you're struggling right now, if you're having a hard time right now, there's a lot going on in the world. But if you're struggling with mental health problems, you're struggling with that, you're not alone. Is there anybody here who has diagnosed mental health problems? Look around you. Embarrassing, you lying bastards. I know there's many more of you. But the truth is, you're not alone, right? And that's the bottom line. You're not going to find this in a bus station. So look around you. If you're struggling, talk about it. There's nothing worse than keeping this stuff secret. It's dangerous. It's really dangerous to isolate and be alone. So if you're struggling, put your hand out and ask. And if you see somebody suffering, please put your hand out and ask. I wouldn't be here without help. Not just this time, but all the other times in my life. I'm sober a long time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm grateful to all of you. It's lovely to see you. It makes me happy. I'll travel anywhere in the world where people want to see me. I love you all. My life would not be the same without you. Don't ever forget that. We are grateful for doing that. And we're grateful to be here. Love you all. Thank you for indulging me. Have a wonderful Mother's Day. That's right, it's Mother's Day today, isn't it? Why are you not hanging out with your mothers? What's going on here? Jesus, trying to get out of the house. Terrible. But I'm sending you lots and lots of love to you and yours. And from me and mine, thank you. It's been a fantastic life thus far. And there's much more left to do. Love you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Sheppard!
Thank you very much.